Today we are going to be filming with three very different cameras. We have a $3,000 camera, we have a $10,000 camera, and we have a $100,000 camera. Obviously these cameras are at completely different price levels, completely different quality levels, but we want to explore the pros and cons of each camera.
All right, so I brought over the Sony a7SIII, which is my go-to camera. I've been using it for about 2 years now. And the reason that I absolutely love this camera is because I do so many run and gun shoots. Stuff where I'm not sure what the scene looks like when I get there. I need to go quickly from being on my tripod to being handheld, and I need to accomplish so many things in such a little amount of time. And I'm not quite sure that the image quality difference between the ARRI or the C500 really entices me to want to go with such a bulky camera.
So let's talk about the C500 for a minute. We do have full frame here as well, which is really great. Few features that we love about the C500, really great autofocus. Benz also has really good autofocus. Those Sonys are fantastic. One thing that we love about the C500, you get to this size, this type of cinema camera, now we have built-in NDs. So we love the C500 for that versatility. Other things the C500 might have that his doesn't, hey, it has a lot more connections. We're talking audio connections, we're talking video inputs and outputs. When you get to a point where you're more than a one-man band and you have a crew happening around you, you need some more options. You need to be able to build out more. You need more crew accessibility. You need more audio inputs, outputs, etc. So having a crew with you, bringing in more gear, more equipment, building it out, that's what this camera is really great for.
And this is the Alexa 35 from ARRI. This is considered by many in the industry to be the best camera in the world right now for two reasons. It has the best dynamic range, which means it can capture the brightest highlights all the way down to deep shadows, and it can capture all that, basically like film. They say this camera has more dynamic range than film. It has 17 stops of dynamic range. The other reason why it's considered to be the best camera in the world is the color science. There are so many colors that other cameras can't render properly. This one can. Another benefit of the Alexa is the way it's built. It is built like a tank. It is built to last decades. It is built to be used every single day on film sets. But today, let's do this. Let's film this interview setup and let's see what the image quality looks like. So of these three images right now, looking at them, I actually prefer the C500 the best. And yes, I think the reason why is because the framing is better and it has a shallower depth of field, and I really like the bokeh in the background in the kitchen area. I think it looks even better than the Alexa. On these monitors, however, when I just look at Tanis and then look at the screen, in real life, the Alexa has the most accurate color to what my eyes are seeing.
Although at first glance on the monitor, I like the Canon's image the best, I don't think that we're gonna see as much of a disparity between the two qualities once we pull them in DaVinci.
Look, the image on the Alexa looks great, and when I spend time color grading, I usually use the Alexa as the base color for any other colors that I'm matching.
Next, we're going to overexpose these shots. This really starts breaking the image because when you bring it down in post, you can see how the image is gonna fall apart. We're going to overexpose more and more and see which camera can last the longest when we're overexposing before the image becomes unusable. With each shot, we overexposed but then corrected the exposure in post. It's clear near the end that the Alexa is still holding strong, but the other two cameras have become totally unusable. So another unscientific test, we're just going by eye here. We turned our lights really low and we're exposing just for what we have here with these different cameras. Each camera is at a different ISO. We're just trying to expose for what we have here to see what the image quality looks like. With the underexposure test, I think the Sony looks the best. There's far less grain. Because all of our cameras are so different, we all have different ways of filming outside for B-roll. I have chosen to use this easy rig. This camera is so heavy that I need to be able to distribute the weight when I'm filming. The reason why I like this easy rig is it does stabilize my shots a little bit. It gives my footage a nice, smooth, handheld look.
I don't have an extra easy rig, but this isn't nearly as heavy as the Alexa, right? It's plastic body versus metal body. You have a much smaller battery. So for this scenario, what I'm doing is I'm just putting it up against my chest here. Just give me a little bit of extra support as we're gonna do a couple walking shots, a couple B-roll shots. Oh, yeah. The other thing I love about this, look, we were just out here and in 10 seconds, like, the whole lighting changed. So I just went up to 8 stops of ND. So I'm ready. Exposure's perfect, ready to go.
Yo, I like that. And although this might be one of my preferred ways of shooting, I love shooting handheld, I thought that I would show off one of the features of the Sony, which is that I can easily pop it quickly onto my RS3, as we talked about, so that I can get more diversity in the shots that I'm able to capture in such a short time.
I'm going to go ahead and film first. I'm going to film some shots of Tanis just the way I want to with this camera, and we'll see what my shots look like. One problem that I do have is it's really bright, and I've got this monitor that's very bright as well, but I can barely see it, and I have a really hard time pulling focus outside. And I don't have autofocus like these guys. So I'm going to be at a higher f-stop. I'm going to be at like an f, like 5.6, so that way I can get more things in focus and I'm not going to lose a shot. Okay, I think she's in focus. All right, and rolling, walking.
Now we're gonna shoot with the C500. A couple things we're gonna do differently. I'm going all the way down to 1.4, so we're gonna get some really crazy bokeh, nice separation. I have autofocus, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm gonna hand hold this, so it'll be interesting. Got a few shots, so Tanis, let's start with the first shot. Let's start over here.
All right, so since I'm shooting with the Sony, as I mentioned, I love to get some shot diversity. So we're gonna start with the gimbal, and then we're gonna knock out a couple handheld shots and hopefully do it in the exact same amount of time that it took Thomas and James to grab their shots.
I had a really hard time filming out there. It's hot and the camera was heavy and I did not enjoy that. I just gotta say, Ben, you looked like you had a lot of more creative freedom than I did.
I did with the gimbal. I mean, no doubt it's hot. It's 108 degrees out, and whenever you're filming outside, having a rig that's smaller and lighter definitely makes things easier.
And one interesting thing too, like Thomas, you were worrying about your framing, you had to worry about focus, you had the weight to deal with. At least in my scenario, I didn't have to worry about focus, right? So I hit the focus on her face. I was able to move around, move freely, get a couple free shots. You know, yeah, a gimbal would have been nice to smooth that out. Probably not any micro jitters, those should be gone, but definitely appreciated having the autofocus. I could focus a little more on the shot, the composition. I wasn't having to deal with the focus much.
If you enjoyed this video and you want to watch more videos from our channel, Epic Light Media, do watch more videos. For goodness sake, comment, engage with our channel, but don't subscribe. That is the one rule here. We don't want any more subscribers.